You're watching RIP News, where we remember the lives that touched the world. In the last 24 hours, we've lost voices, hearts, and souls who made a difference. This video is our small tribute to their impact, their journeys, and the memories they've left behind. If any part of their story moves you, please consider liking this video, not just for us, but in honor of them. We appreciate you joining us. Sometimes, the brightest stars don't just shine, they crash into the earth with a brilliance so fierce, the world can't help but remember. She was beauty and wit, wrapped in laughter and daring. A queen of comedy who never played by Hollywood's rules. She loved recklessly, lived fearlessly, and left the world far too soon. Behind the iconic smile was a rebel soul who turned tragedy into triumph, and fame into something deeply personal. This is the unforgettable story of Carole Lombard, the actress who made the world laugh, and then broke its heart. Born as Jane Alice Peters on October 6, 1908, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Carole's early years were shaped by strength and separation. Her parents divorced when she was young, and her mother moved the family to Los Angeles, hoping for a fresh start. It was there, beneath the California sun, that young Jane found herself drawn to motion pictures. She was wild, athletic, full of life, and far from the dainty stereotype Hollywood often demanded. At just 12 years old, she was spotted by director Alan Dwan while playing baseball in the street. Her energy was magnetic. She landed her first role in the silent film A Perfect Crime, 1921. But it wasn't a straight shot to stardom. At 18, she suffered a brutal car accident that left a scar on her face. In an industry obsessed with perfection, many assumed her career was over. But Carole refused to vanish. She underwent surgery, mastered her angles, and came back stronger, reclaiming her place with wit and willpower. Signing with Path Studios and later Paramount Pictures, she slowly carved out a niche, finding her true power in comedy. She didn't just say lines, she delivered them with fire. Her breakout role in 20th Century, 1934, catapulted her into the spotlight, followed by iconic performances in My Man Godfrey, 1936, which earned her an Academy Award nomination, Nothing Sacred, 1937, and To Be or Not to Be, 1942. Carole became the queen of screwball comedy, combining elegance with razor-sharp timing. But she was more than just a performer, she was a businesswoman and a pioneer. She demanded better pay, rewrote her own lines, and stood toe-to-toe with studio executives. She was one of the highest-paid actresses of her time, not because the industry handed it to her, but because she earned it with relentless grit. Off-screen, her personal life made headlines, particularly her whirlwind romance with the King of Hollywood himself, Clark Gable. Their love was passionate and sincere, the kind that didn't need publicity. They married in 1939 and shared a quiet ranch life away from the Hollywood lights. Yet her greatest legacy may have come not from film, but from patriotism. During World War II, Carole became a face for America's war effort, traveling across the country to raise money through war bonds. In January 1942, she raised over $2 million in a single night. Proud and eager to return home, she boarded a flight from Indiana to California. But the plane never made it. On January 16, 1942, Carole Lombard died in a tragic plane crash on Potosi Mountain, Nevada, at just 33 years old. The nation mourned. President Roosevelt called her the first woman to die in the line of duty for her country during the war. Clark Gable, devastated, would never fully recover from the loss. But Carole's story didn't end there. Her films continued to inspire generations, her style set the standard for comedic actresses to follow, and her courage became a blueprint for what it meant to be a powerful woman in Hollywood. She broke barriers, laughed in the face of adversity, and turned personal scars into stepping stones. Carole once said, "I live by a man's code, designed to fit a man's world, yet at the same time, I never forget that a woman's first job is to choose the right shade of lipstick." That was Carole, tough, funny, and always in control. Her story is a testament to resilience, self-worth, and the courage to chase greatness, even if the runway is short. But Carole Lombard isn't the only legend whose life left us breathless. Stay with us, because next, we explore the story of another star, one whose brilliance rewrote the rules of Hollywood forever. She lit up the screen like no one before her, and disappeared before the world could catch its breath. She was the original platinum blonde, a symbol of sex appeal, rebellion, and fragility wrapped in silk and scandal. But behind that million-dollar smile was a woman whose life burned fast, bright, and tragically short. Hers is a story of ambition, transformation, and a legacy that outlived even the glare of 1930s Hollywood. This is the unforgettable journey of Jean Harlow, Hollywood's first true blonde bombshell. She was born Harlene Harlow Carpenter on March 3, 1911, in Kansas City, Missouri. Her early life was shaped by her strong-willed mother, a woman obsessed with stardom. From the beginning, little Harlene was never meant to lead an ordinary life. Her parents divorced when she was still a toddler, and her mother, nicknamed Mother Jean, pushed her daughter toward the limelight with fierce determination. As a teenager, Harlene moved to Los Angeles after marrying a young businessman named Charles McGrew. The marriage didn't last, but the move changed everything. One day, while picking up a friend from a casting call, she was spotted by a Fox executive. She had no intention of acting, but her face said otherwise. Harlene Harlow became Jean Harlow, and a star was born almost by accident. Her early roles in silent films weren't standout, but her breakthrough came in 1930, when Howard Hughes cast her in Hell's Angels. The movie was a technological marvel, one of the first major sound films, and Jean's look was unlike anything Hollywood had seen. Her platinum blonde hair, achieved through harsh bleaching techniques, became her signature. She was dubbed the Blonde Bombshell, and soon, a global phenomenon. In the years that followed, she starred in a string of hits: Platinum Blonde, 1931, Red Dust, 1932, Dinner at 8, 1933, and Bombshell, 1933. She brought a daring edge to the screen, playful, seductive, but always with a wink of intelligence. Jean Harlow wasn't just eye candy. She was funny, sharp, and had an electric presence that made her co-stars, even legends like Clark Gable and William Powell, take a step back. But while the world saw glamour, Jean's life behind the scenes was anything but golden. She married MGM producer Paul Byrne in 1932, but just 2 months later, he was found dead in their home from a gunshot wound. The incident was declared a suicide, but rumors swirled. MGM went into damage control mode, and Jean was told to stay silent. The scandal nearly derailed her career, but instead, it made her more magnetic than ever. She became the tragic goddess of the silver screen. Emotionally scarred but professionally on the rise, Jean threw herself into her work. She became a box office powerhouse for MGM. Her films were clever, daring, and sometimes controversial, but always profitable. She was known for pushing boundaries, and in many ways, helped define the pre-code Hollywood era, when censorship was still loose and actresses could take on sexually confident roles. Yet, she longed for more than fame. Jean wanted to be taken seriously. She studied her craft, fought for better scripts, and hoped to one day step behind the camera. She dreamed of producing films, of building a career that lasted beyond her looks. But her body was beginning to betray her. In 1937, during the filming of Saratoga, Jean began experiencing severe health problems. She was often in pain, fatigued, and bloated. At first, doctors misdiagnosed her with the flu or gallbladder issues. The truth was far more serious. She was suffering from kidney failure, likely exacerbated by childhood scarlet fever and the heavy studio lifestyle that demanded perfection at all costs. On June 7, 1937, Jean Harlow died at just 26 years old. Her death shocked the world. Audiences wept. MGM halted all productions. She had seemed invincible, larger than life. But in the end, she was a young woman with dreams, fears, and a heart that had carried too much too soon. Her final film, Saratoga, was completed with a stand-in and released posthumously. It became a massive success, and Jean's image was cemented in Hollywood history, not just as a sex symbol, but as a trailblazer whose life was both a dream and a tragedy. Jean Harlow was more than the first blonde bombshell. She was the blueprint for Marilyn Monroe, Jane Mansfield, and every daring actress that followed. She brought sensuality, comedy, and courage to an industry still finding its voice. She defied expectations. She survived scandals. She rose from obscurity and left a legacy that made her immortal. In the words of her friend and co-star William Powell, Jean wasn't an actress. She was an experience. And maybe that's the only way to describe her. She came and went like lightning, brilliant, blinding, and unforgettable. But the story doesn't end here. Because up next, we explore another legend, one whose light burned just as fiercely, and whose story demands to be told. Stay with us. The next icon is waiting.